I'm Kevin Thomas, Senior Pastor of Forest Lake United Methodist Church. Thank you for joining us this week as we look at our lectionary readings. Today, let's talk about 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 1 through 8, where it reads, "For you yourselves know, brethren, that our coming to you was not in vain. But after we had already suffered and been mistreated in Philippi, as you know, we had the boldness in our God to speak to you the gospel of God amid much opposition. For our exhortation does not come from error or impurity or by way of deceit, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak, not as pleasing men, but God, who examines our hearts. For we never came with flattering speech, as you know, nor with a pretext for greed, God is witness. Nor did we seek glory from men, either from you or from others, even though as apostles of Christ we might have asserted our authority. But we proved to be gentle among you, as a nursing mother tenderly cares for her own children. Having thus a fond affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you had become very dear to us." Well, we live in a time where popularity is so important to us, isn't it? We want to be popular. We want to be liked. It's a real concern among many of us that tend to be people pleasers. We tend to let other people's desires, other people's opinions of us drive the way that we behave. Sometimes we can seriously cause problems for ourselves by trying to win other people's approval. It's a race that we run raggedly, and very rarely do we win it. We would like to have the popularity. We would like to please others. We hear a different kind of message from Paul in this text. Paul says, look, you're important to us. Those of you in Thessalonica, we value you. You are wonderful people, and we want to be in this loving relationship with you. Paul even describes it in terms of a mother's nurturing for her children. That's the kind of relationship that Paul wants to have with the Thessalonians. But he's very clear that the only one that he's really responsible to is God. You see, Paul is not performing for an audience at Thessalonica. He's not trying to gain the approval of the crowds that are listening to him. Paul has an audience of one. His audience of one is God. His desire is that what he says and what he does would be pleasing to God, regardless of the result it gets from people. And that was the story for him. The Thessalonians apparently were receiving him well, but others in Philippi had mistreated him very badly. Paul was often abused. He was left for dead. He was stoned. He was beaten with rods. He was shipwrecked. But the response of people wasn't what gave him courage and kept him moving. It was his reaction to God, his relationship with God. Now, I'm not like that myself, not yet. I want to be. Too often, I hang around wanting to get the pat on the back, wanting to hear the words of encouragement, wanting to know that somehow my work has pleased my people in my church or in our community. But I'm trying to move that direction. I want to be more like Paul. I want to live my life with only one audience, an audience of one, the Lord Jesus Christ.